She wasn't cooking to impress anyone. That's what stayed with me for 3 whole days. My daughter moved through the kitchen like it was a serious task. And there was no room for praise or compliments. She took her time reading recipes, rewriting them in her own handwriting, adjusting the spices, testing sauces more than once. She didn't have music playing, she wasn't chatting, and there were no pictures being posted. It felt almost like a ritual. Every dish she made had a purpose. This one was for Nana, this one was for Grandpa, who doesn't like garlic too strong. And this one was for Auntie, who always insists on something vegetarian. She planned for 23 people. Even though only a few would actually notice the effort she put in. I offered to help, but she just shook her head. I've got it, she said. I thought she meant the cooking, but I didn't realize she meant the hope behind it all. The message came the night before the party. It was short with, "No greeting, we decided to celebrate at a restaurant, it's adults only." I stared at the screen for longer than I should have. The way it was worded, clean and final, made it feel like nothing else had ever been possible. It was as if the 3 days of hard work in the kitchen hadn't even happened. I didn't respond. Right away, my daughter was still plating something at the counter, focused and unaware. I watched her hands steady and confident, believing she was creating something that mattered. I didn't want to break that belief with anger. If I got mad, it would ruin everything. It would turn it into something about me, so I slipped the phone into my pocket and stayed quiet. Later, when she asked what time everyone was coming, I just told her the truth. But I softened it. They changed plans, they're going out instead. She blinked and that was it. No tears, no arguments, just a moment of silence. Long enough for the weight of it to hit her. Adults only? She asked, already knowing the answer. Yes, I said. She nodded like she had lost something and was quietly coming to terms with it. I guess we'll have leftovers. I expected resentment, but it didn't come. What showed up instead was something worse, adjustment. The kind that comes from knowing exclusion well enough to expect it. That night after she went to bed, I packed the food away carefully, labeling containers and freezing whatever could be frozen. I treated it all with the same respect she had given it. Then, I sat at the table and let myself think for the first time. This wasn't the first time it had happened, but it was the cleanest. No room for confusion, no dramatic fight to fix things, just quiet removal. And then, an uncomfortable thought hit me. My parents had always counted on me to stay silent. They thought my silence meant agreement. That I would smooth things over, make excuses, and deal with their disappointments on my own. I taught them that, so instead of calling them or texting back, instead of asking for the respect I knew wouldn't come, I made one decision. It wasn't emotional. It was just practical. The next morning, I called the community center, where the party had originally been planned. My mom had insisted on the paperwork weeks ago. Just in case, I was listed as a secondary contact. I calmly told them the event was canceled and there would be no gathering at the house. No explanation, no backstory, I simply withdrew our involvement. Then, I carried on with my day. My daughter slept in when she woke up. She reheated pancakes she had made for guests who never came. We ate together, quietly. There was an unspoken pause, but it wasn't heavy. It didn't feel like chaos, just a quiet moment of stillness. 15 hours later, the doorbell rang. Once, twice, then harder with persistence, like someone who expects you to answer. I opened the door. My parents were standing there, dressed way too formally for our quiet neighborhood. Behind them, my aunt. They looked confused, irritation barely held back. "What's going on?" my father asked. The venue said the clearance was revoked. The caterer canceled. We had people coming back here for dessert. I didn't move. "There's no party here," I said. My mom's gaze flicked past me, toward the kitchen, toward the lingering scent of spices. "But the food was prepared by a minor who was explicitly excluded," I said, calm but firm. "So I removed us from the event." There was a brief pause, not dramatic, just a little uncomfortable. "You could have said something," my father said, his tone sharp. "I did," I replied, "by respecting your decision." Behind them, my daughter stayed out of sight. I'd asked her too. Moments later, the community liaison officer arrived. He was routine, neutral, just doing his job, clipboard in hand. No anger, just authority. He confirmed there was no registered event, that everything had been cleared, and that no gathering would take place. There was nothing left to argue, no one to blame, no scene. My parents stood there, suddenly aware that their certainty didn't extend everywhere. Eventually, they left, no apologies, no blow-up, just a quiet retreat. Later that evening, my daughter asked me, "Did I do something wrong?" I met her eyes and answered carefully, "No. But now they understand they don't get to benefit from your effort without including you." She took that in slowly, processing it. Things didn't go back to normal after that. They shifted, invitations became more cautious and conversations felt more formal. The old, familiar dynamic never returned. But something else grew in its place.